Good evening. Wow, great start, Ems. Good evening. Happy Friday. My name is Emmy. I run Carpe Emmy, and this evening I have an episode of Theatre&Tonic, and I will be joined by Jenna Boyd. If you joined us a few weeks ago, you will know that I've already done this Q&A. However, technology isn't my best friend, and so we couldn't get it. Couldn't get it saved, so we have organised it and we are redoing it. So I really appreciate people that are here to watch it all over again. You never know, you might learn something even different from the last one. So if you are a Come From Away fan, then please do leave any Q&As, questions that you may have for Jenna when she joins us. But do say hello in the comments. Hope you're all well and had a good week. I don't know why I'm not talking. I'm clearly very tired. I've had an okay week. I've had some interesting news from work today, and I'm looking very frazzled because it's a Friday. And if I'm honest, I got home and I was like, I'm just gonna get changed and roll with this look today. But do let me know how you all are. Got Viv here. We've got Mark. Basically Troubles here. We've got Soph here too, so hi guys. Got a few other people as well. Hi Laura. But yes, hopefully Jenna will be here soon and we can get cracking. But like I say, if you have any questions for Jenna about Come From Away or anything in particular that she's been involved in or anything she's excited about for the reopenings of theatre, then do leave them below. I'm sure some of you here are Come From Away fans. Had to go for the best song. It's I thought we'd go for something peppy. Not pep. Is that pep? Am I right? I'm going for something a bit more energetic this evening, so hopefully wake me up a little bit. Hello everyone. Hi Claire. Oh my gosh, my hair is so bad. Ask Mark about our version. Okay, I'm Mark. I am going to be waiting for your version of the Screeching in the near future. Oh my god, it's all going down in the comments already. Ask about the rats in the theatre. I'm not a fan of rats, not gonna lie. So Jenna's here, so let me get her on. I'm just gonna turn this music down ready. That would help, wouldn't it? Oh, hold on. Hello.
Hey.
Here she is again. Hopefully we'll have more luck today.
Fingers crossed for you. Fingers crossed.
Honestly. Oh, I was like, no, I don't need this today.
I really felt for you. I was like, oh, there's nothing worse than you screaming at it. Like,
no, because I could see it loading. It was right there at the end, and then it went no.
Rude.
I was like, no. And I was like, after the week I had at work, I was like, I'm not surprised anything's going on today.
Bless you.
How are you, Jenna? Are you doing okay?
I am, my darling. I'm doing very well. I'm home, finished work. I've got a little cheeky drink.
Oh.
Little cheeky almond. All is good.
What are we drinking tonight?
Tonight, it is a bit like a cocktail, really. It's a hibiscus and peach vodka cocktail. Yeah, that's right. That's how I roll. Have you seen, excuse the mess, have you ever seen my bar?
No.
Show you from this angle, 70.
Okay, we're all coming round to your house, Jenna. I mean, rule of six, obviously, in the garden.
That's right. That's right. I got right into cocktails during the first lockdown, and anyone who knows me, I've never been a big drinker, but that first lockdown, I'm not going to lie, I got right into my cocktails. I'm like thrilled. Hiya.
You need it though, don't you, to get through the lockdown?
Babe.
So thank you so much for giving your time again. It's nice to chat again because I came away from it and I was like, this was such a good conversation. So for those who don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself?
I am Jenna Boyd. I am an actress, a British actress. Have been professional for 20, no, what was it? 2021, 21 years. No, there isn't any screech in the bar. I've just seen a question there. There isn't, and I know it's terrible. I think I've got a teeny bottle of screech in the theatre, but I don't have any at home, which is shameful, really. I really should have one. So I've been a professional actress for 21 years. I was teaching students today who weren't alive when I had my first job. It was a depressing moment for me. I was literally like, really,
it's horrible, isn't it?
painful. And I've done lots of things, really. Theatre, bit of TV, bits and pieces. Been cracking on for a long time, hung on in there. And that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So, as you were saying, you've been in the business now for quite a long time. It's over 20 years, which is amazing. So what do you think has been fundamental to you in your career?
My first agent, I think, was fundamental in my career. I was talking about her today, actually, with some students. That I think she really put me on the right path. I really do. That and the fact that I just can't do anything else. So fundamentally, if this is what I'm going to do. But yeah, I was talking about that with my students today. My second job that I ever had was on a TV show, and I do think that has had a lot to do with my, luckily and very, very privileged, varied career. I haven't just done one thing, and I've been very lucky in that respect.
Absolutely. So, over the time that you've been in the industry, what do you think has changed the most about it?
I don't know. People ask me this all the time. I don't know what's changed. Like, genuinely.
No.
I don't know, because I've changed. Because one doesn't remain the same. You sort of grow within it. So if things have changed, I'll be honest, I haven't really noticed. I've just been sort of bumbling along and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
There are things I'd like to see change. I'd like to see more interesting casting happening. I'm, thinking slightly outside the box sort of casting. I guess that's from a personal point of view. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a slightly better life-work balance. Oh, Nat, I miss you too, and I cannot wait to see you either that day. Stage door, bring it on. I'd like to see a better work-life balance, I think, for, people in the industry, that it is... so I'm just getting rid of people messaging me. Go ahead. I think that people are cottoning on to the fact that it's quite important for people's mental well-being. And as performers, we give, so it sounds a bit wanky really, but it's true. We invest so much of ourselves into our jobs. We give it so much. I certainly do. That balance is actually really important to keep me healthy. And if I'm healthy, then my show will be better. As in my personal track.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would like to see change is how this industry looks upon and supports everybody's mental health. That's come up a lot over the last year, I think. And I watched a program. A friend of mine who I shared a dressing room with on Wind in the Willows, Natalie, Despacito. It was our favourite song. She just popped it on there. I think over the last year, mental health has been something a lot of people have been discussing, but I've always felt that the theatre world community could do more. And when I mean world and community, I'm actually not talking about my peers, my colleagues. I'm talking about the people who run it, the people who own it. The onus is on them to look after the people that work for them hard, 8 shows a week, 6 days a week. And I think that really should be a thing for change.
Yeah. Is there a lot available with that kind of thing? Because it's something that I guess we don't really know about, but is there a lot in place for supporting mental well-being for you guys at all, or is it just...
I'm not, as far as I'm aware. There was something I was watching on football. It was so random. I can't even tell you when it was, but I think it's some point this year. It was about mental health within football. And Gareth Southgate, if anybody is old enough to remember, back in the 90s, missed a penalty for, I think it was for us to go into the finals of the Euro Cup or something like that. And he was saying, it was hellish for him. And he was saying, as the England manager captain on this programme, that he looks after his players' mental well-being so that they can perform to the best of their ability. And he handles things, he talked about things about performance doubt. If they miss a penalty, well, you know, if you crack on a note, we then have to go back out there and do it. And that I've never been in a job situation where that's been looked after or addressed to me or to my peers and my colleagues. And I think that we are behind. I think that we should, you know, we should look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's like, as a whole, I think the whole country kind of, I think, you know, mental well-being should probably be their biggest priority coming out of this pandemic a little bit more, you know, because, you know, I work in a school, so we talk about this quite a bit. And even recently we were saying it's affecting people more than we actually initially thought it was. And actually it's becoming more obvious now. Like, although, yes, we were seeing it start to come through during lockdown, it's more obvious now.
I think I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. I think people didn't realise how much that they've been affected by it. And I think, you know, as things have started to go back to normal, I think people are struggling. I genuinely do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I guess what it'll always come down to, it's always about funding, isn't it? It's always about putting the money in that service.
In the public sector, yes, but theatres, most theatres are private businesses, private companies. It's just something that has struck me over the course of the pandemic, and that one phrase that Gareth Southgate said, which was performance doubt. We have to address that, because if our players are not mentally prepared for the game, they'll not physically be able to give their best performance. And I was like, that's an amazing thing. I'd never thought of it. I thought, no. Why do we have that? Why is not the business that talks about, you know, we're so empathetic, we're constantly showing, you know, emotions and telling stories and feeling things and bringing you know, group of people, huge audiences on emotional journeys with us. I wonder if our emotional well-being should be more of a priority. That's just something that has, you know, occurred to me over the course of the pandemic.
Yeah, and I guess as well, even thinking about things about everyone's own experiences of the lockdown and then having to come back to work, it is such a, you know, you guys have obviously had a year where some of you probably not had a job whatsoever, you know, and now you've got to all of a sudden go back into a role again.
Yeah, it's been incredibly difficult.
So moving on then, obviously Come From Away is coming back. Yay, theatres are coming back.
I wore yellow in homage of the show.
So obviously you were in it when the theatres did close, so can you tell me a little bit about that experience and obviously how that's kind of affected you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty horrendous. I won't lie to you, at the time it was really awful and really sad. It was just, as obviously as the months roll by, it became more and more difficult. And I mean, I remember that day. It's probably, you know, I think I can remember where I was. I think my parents, I remember my mum saying she'll always remember where she was when JFK got shot. I will always remember where I was when the Twin Towers went down, and I'll always remember where I was the day they said we're shutting the industry. Like, it's such a monumental thing to me personally. I've dedicated my life to this industry, and when it was taken away and shut down, it felt like a part of me died inside. And I know that might sound to some people quite dramatic. Unfortunately, that's just the case. I don't know how else to say it. It was like part of me was just taken away. But on that day, I remember we got the call to come to stage, the whole full company, you see, to the stage. And honestly, the only time they do that is if you're closing or you're getting an award. we weren't up for any awards. So I was like, oh yeah, it's not good. And we all realised it wasn't great. And we'd heard the announcement from Boris Johnson, and also I'm an equity deputy, and I'm on a WhatsApp chat with the other deputies from the West End, and they were all saying, "Oh, show's cancelled, the show's cancelled." So by the time we got downstairs, I'd already got a text from equity saying, "Salt, you know, the advice that Salt had given." I walked out onto that stage, and like, see this colour here? See my hands there. This is the colour that our producer was. It was absolutely ashen, and have to say it's as of now the show is cancelled. And you kind of go cancelled like today, and then all of a sudden it's oh it's cancelled. Oh right, oh that's weird. What do you do now? Company manager Sophie, lovely Sophie, said, you know, go to the dressing room, take what you need, because we don't know when it'll, you know, you'll be able to get back in. I remember going upstairs and being like, what the hell, where do I start? This is not like a quick, like one day. This would take me like 2 or 3 days to get out of this room. So I took my Come From Away hoodie, and I took the Christmas Moose, which is a squeaky toy teddy bear that we did some promo with that Christmas just gone, because I couldn't bear the thought of it being left in the theatre by itself. And that's all I took. And then I just went home, and I said to my husband when I got in, I cried, and I was like, this is not good. This is not good. This is not going to be a few weeks. And for a little while I thought it was going to be September, and then it got to like June, July, and I was like, well, it's not going to be September. It isn't. It might be Christmas. Get to August, I was like, it's not going to be Christmas. And then I thought it might be Easter. I did not have any idea that it was going to be, you know, the summer. That's an extra 3 or 4 months on top. So yeah, I can recall it so vividly because it was such a massive moment. Or someone's asked a question: what did you do on a day-to-day basis when you can't work in the industry? During COVID, I tried to bake. That's not my thing. I'm not very good. My poor husband has had to suffer me trying to bake. For the first 3 months, I cleaned like there was no tomorrow. Like, my home has never been as clean at the beginning of COVID. I was like cleaning everything. Honestly, Liv, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I've done for a year. Because, you know, for a long time, we were just in the house, walk my dogs. Tried. It took me a long time before I could sing again because it was too upset. It hurt me too much. It was too upsetting. But eventually I did get to the point where I would, you know, maybe have a good hour. My neighbours, these people here, literally hate me. The other day I was practicing a bang, bang, bang on the wall. We're recording this. And I was like, good, record it, sell it, make yourself some money. That's what I said back to them. I literally shouted that back to them. It's 12:30 on a Friday afternoon. Go away. But, you know, you just try and keep yourself in. I bought a sewing machine. I forgot about that because obviously I'm not going to do well. I bought a sewing machine and made my dog some coats. That's what I did. In normal life, when, you know, there is no COVID, what do I do when I'm not working? All kinds of things. Teaching. I've been teaching this week at Erdown, which has been amazing. They're absolutely brilliant and have been lifesavers. I work in the Opera House as a dresser, which is one of my favourite in between jobs. Made some amazing friends there. Miss them and go back in a heartbeat. Lots of things, really. Lots and lots of things.
That's the good thing about it then, I suppose. You can be really like diverse with what you do, can't you? And I guess that's really important to your career, that you kind of do different things, don't you, and develop.
I do lots and lots of varied things. But the teaching and ironically the dressing at the Opera House are my two favourite things. But as far as I don't know how I filled my time. Honestly, for the first 3 months I didn't do anything. It sounds so silly, but it's true. I just tried to get through the day.
Yeah, I think we all did though, because sometimes I sit here and I go, how did I fill my days? Because I come home now and I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, I don't know how I did. I didn't have the telly on. I didn't listen to music for those first few months because I couldn't stand. I was in a bad, you know, we were probably all, I'm not alone in this, I don't think, but we were in a bad place, in a bad way. I couldn't stand the noise. I just needed, like, I think there was so much noise going on in my head that I just needed the silence. So I spent a lot of time in silence cleaning, which is odd because I'm not the tidiest of persons. But yeah. Oh, someone else. What are you most looking for? What are you looking forward to most when you reopen? Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to getting my life back. I'm looking forward to hearing the bell run for the first time. I'm looking forward to seeing faces in that auditorium. I'm looking forward to telling that story again. I'm looking forward to getting my life back. God damn it. Being with my friends and just all the really good stuff. It's hard to pinpoint one thing. Being back in the theatre, I'm looking forward.
And I guess it'll be quite overwhelming, I think, though, because I remember the first day when all the kids came back into the school and I was a bit like, did we ever have this many kids, or am I just imagining it? Because it's so overwhelming, because it's so like there's so much going on.
Yeah, I've had a lot of friends who are, spoken to them go, oh, it's so busy, it's weird going out. I quite enjoy that, and I've sort of quite embraced that. As I said, I've been teaching at Erdang this week and we're all in masks, but obviously we're in rooms together, and I don't feel intimidated by that. I quite enjoy it. I like people. I like seeing it busy. For me, that makes it look like normality. But, I am conscious of lots of, I'm constantly hand gelling. I mean, I have more bottles of hand gel constantly, gel, things like that. Conscious of space. I wouldn't think anything of before getting a coffee and sitting on the tube. Now I'm like, well, I don't want to be drinking stuff on the tube, get my mask on, and all of that. It does change you slightly, but the people, that doesn't like make me nervous. It just makes me excited that life may resume.
Yeah, hopefully. So hold on, I'm trying to think where I am now. So for those who don't know about Come From Away, can you give kind of a rundown about it?
I absolutely can. So the best way to describe this is the 9/12 story. It's not a story about 9/11. It's a story about the day after. It's true. It's based completely in truth. In fact, most of the script and the songs are taken from hours and hours of interviews that our writers conducted many, many years ago. So it's the most truthful piece of theatre. I think that's why it's so popular. I think that's why it resonates with people, because it just comes from this place of truth. And basically, the idea is this, and because it's true, is on the day, the hideous day of 9/11, they closed the airspace in America. In fact, I believe they closed the airspace worldwide, because I remember being in Wandsworth and having planes flying back in threes. It was a very odd thing. But they closed the American airspace. No planes could fly over the United States. And every single plane that was in the air was told to land in the nearest airport. So any planes flying over the Atlantic from Europe or wherever they were coming from, but they were crossing the Atlantic back to America, had to land immediately. And there is a little known place called Newfoundland with an airport in the town of Gander that juts out into the sea and is actually only 4 hours from the UK. It's a really quick flight, and it was there because back in the day, planes couldn't travel all the way to America without refueling. So what ended up happening was 38 planes landed in this little town. The airport's enormous, but the town is very small. So they went from having roughly about 9,000 people to 16,000 in 24 hours. Well, actually less than that, but that was sort of overnight. They almost doubled. And the people were on the planes. They come from a ways. You see them. See what I did there, or see what they did there. They remained in Gander for 5 days. The flights were grounded. They had no way of getting home. They had no way of going anywhere. And the amazing people of Gander, whom I have had the privilege to meet, the real people from the real story that we tell, took them in. They fed them, they clothed them, they looked after them, they took them into their homes. It started off in schools, and then people started saying, oh, do you want to come back to my house for a shower? And they do. And it's when you first read it, you're like, really, are they that nice? And then you meet them and go, you're like, they are really that nice, they are that lovely, and not in a showy way. You know, they'd known about this, they'd known about what they'd done for years. It was only, I think it was possibly the 10th anniversary that our writers went there and did these interviews, but they didn't make a big song and dance about it. They just did. They found it at the beginning apparently quite shocking and quite surprising that people were making such a fuss, because in their mind they're like, well, you would have done the same, wouldn't you? I'd like to think that we would. We'd all like to think we were that good, but they were just that good. If you can imagine, 7,000 people, some of which don't speak the same language as you, from different ethnicities, different religions, all requiring different, all having different needs. In fact, there is, it's true, and I met a lady from this flight. There was a flight which had Make-A-Wish children on it, all terminally ill children trying to get over to Florida to, for a holiday, and they didn't get there, but apparently they didn't mind because the people in Newfoundland, Gander or Appleton or where the surrounding towns took them in and gave them the most amazing time. I mean, I know it, even now I'm telling you this, I know this, I've heard it many times, it still makes me get a bit verklempt, I just think it's so beautiful. They are just that good. Yeah. So
obviously tell us a little bit about your character then, and is there a bit of pressure playing someone that's like real life on stage?
I think some people find it pressured. I don't know if that makes me bad or not. Terrible, but I felt a sense of responsibility to tell the story the best I possibly could. Maybe it's different for me because my character is actually based on I'm sorry, I've just seen that my husband has joined this. I just saw his name. You're so cheeky. Because my character is actually based on two people. The person Beulah Davis as a human doesn't exist. She is the amalgamation of two people, a woman called Beulah Cooper and a woman called Diane Davis. So the pressure to replicate or do it in the impression of a single human being, I don't have, because Beulah Davis is a character in her own right. What I did feel the responsibility was to get the story across, their stories. So Beulah Cooper, she was best friends with Hannah, another character in our show. So that's her side of my story, Beulah Davis's story. Diane Davis is the school teacher. So it's her story that's the side of Beulah's story, Beulah Davis's story. But the one thing I will say is I had spent a lovely day with Diane Davis when she was in London, and we were doing some interviews together, and it was the first time I'd heard from her, about certain events of that day. And one of them was this whole thing of when people arrived, they didn't know what had happened. And the best way that they thought to tell them was to let them see it for themselves, because how would you explain that to a person? It's like you getting off a plane and someone saying someone flew a plane into Canary. What are you talking about? The best, it's like something terrible's happened, please come and see it. And she said that people she said when they saw it for the first time on that screen, for her she lived that moment every time a new batch of people came in, a new busload of people arrived. And she said those people either watched that on the screen and never walked back into that room again, or they never left it. They sat, just watched the TV for hours and hours and hours, trying to find some sort of understanding of a comprehension of what they saw. So that's my character. She is the school teacher. She organises the sort of relief effort within the school where people stayed, and also she is the best friend. She becomes best friends with one of the come from aways, whose name is Hannah, Hannah O'Rourke in real life, very true. And sadly, her story is also true.
So I guess that then you kind of become quite emotionally involved in the story then, because you've got to know these characters, you know, as the real people, but also as what you portray them as in the show, don't you?
You just want to make sure that you're telling the most truthful version of what happened, that there's no room for sentimentality within our show. It's not like that. We tell it. The people from Gander, the people from Newfoundland, they're not sentimental people. Like I said, they don't think they did anything special. They just like, well, you do the same, wouldn't you? It's a matter of fun. Someone needs help. We'll all pitch in together and we'll help them. Yeah. It's simple. It's very, very simple. It's not heroic. It's not a grand gesture. So as storytellers, as actors, it's our job to replicate that sort of, that feeling of, this is matter of fact, this is just what happened. This story will move you because the story itself is moving, not because we are ladling the emotion into it. It's just the story that will get you, and it gets you.
Yeah. So obviously when you go back to the show, is there one moment in the show that you just can't wait to...
Oh, yes. Well, apart from the opening, hearing that Baron for the first time, but for me, my favourite part of the show, it's always been the same since I heard it on the album for the first time after I found out I got the job, to the very last Saturday that we performed. It's the bit on the plane on the way home. That song is Somewhere in the Middle of Nowhere, is my absolute favourite song in the show. I completely love it. I think it is amazing. And I did an interview at some point during lockdown, because let's face it, all blurs into one, and where the writers were on it as well, and they were like, it's our favourite song. And I was like, because it's the best one. I don't know what it is. The first time I heard it, it moved me, it made me cry. It just gives me all the feels. And every night I get to do it, I still think it's magic. Utter magic.
So why do you think it's such a popular musical with its audiences? What do you think draws them in time and time again? Because you've got quite a loyal following, haven't you? So
we do. Charlotte, if you're there, and Natalie, if you're there, Laura, thank you. You know I owe you a lot, getting me through this hideous time with your loyalty. I'm very grateful. I think part of the reason it's so popular with audiences is I genuinely think that people watch it and would like to believe that they would be that good. You know, that they can see themselves on that stage and think, I would do that in their situation. It just shows the best of humanity in the worst possible time. You know, it's the most horrendous thing that happened, and this is, you know, these people just showed humanity to its absolute best. I live in Gravesend, and during the pandemic, we have this enormous, it's so beautiful, this enormous Sikh temple, and they, you know, they did something very similar. They pooled their resources and just started making hundreds and hundreds of meals, you know, out of their own pocket, from their own money, and delivered them to people. And then, I don't know if you remember, quite recently, there was a big problem with the trucks or the lorries and stuff going out to, you know, getting out of Kent, getting into the hospital, and they were stuck there for days. Again, they rallied together, the Sikh community in Gravesend, and started delivering meals to these people. And I just thought they were absolutely exceptional. You know, and I thought, look at these people, the worst of times, the best of people. And that is why I think it's such, you know, such a popular show, because I just think it just shows how good you can be. Yeah, and it's probably what we all need right now coming out of this, isn't it? Yeah. What's he said? If you could have dinner with any of the three characters you've acted again. Mark, I get to the word again, and then I can't see anymore. Oh, it said acted against, who would you invite? Characters or actors? Oh, characters, it said, so I would go for characters. I've acted against. If I could have dinner with any of the three real people from Come From Away, it would definitely be Dan Davis, because her and I are cut from the same cloth. We're like the same hue. It's so funny. Well, that day that we did those interviews, I don't even remember what she said, but the people that were running the the whole interview and press day said something, and she made some kind of sarky, funny comment. And I had thought exactly the same thing. And the whole cast just turned and looked at me, and I was like, yeah, I see it. We're exactly the same. We are so similar. So definitely be her, because she makes me laugh. I think I'd definitely like to have the real Claude, because I think he's pretty fab. And Bonnie, because I've met her and she's really amazing. Like, that was the part, everyone knows this, I didn't make no secret of this, that was the part I wanted when I was in the auditions, because I'm mad about animals, and I just think that her line's the best in the show, and I'm jealous, but I couldn't do them as well as Mary. But I get to sit and watch her do them every night. Is always a bit of a bonus for me. So those are the 3 people, real live characters I'd have lunch with. And you're asking me about my actual actors. I couldn't pick. Sorry, can't pick. I love them all.
Don't make any enemies right now. So, is there a favourite memory from Come From Away that you'd like to share?
Some of my proudest memories. West End Live. That was amazing. When we did, I'd never done West End Live before, ever. It never happened that I'd done the show at the time it was on. Actually, that's not true. They did West End Live without, because I wasn't in the routine. In Wind in the Willows. So I was like,
oh yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I wasn't in that routine. So West End Live was utterly incredible. And if I'm absolutely honest, when I came away from there, I genuinely was contemplating changing careers. I was like, I need to be like a headliner at Glastonbury. I'm a rock star. That's how I felt. But there is this comedy photograph of me on stage. There's 4 of us. The picture is of Robert Hands, who was our Nick in the original cast, Clive Carter, who was our original Claude, Rachel Tucker, and me. And those 3 look so cool. They really do look like rock stars. And I look like I've won a competition. I'm not. That's so not cool. A little bit like if anyone saw it at the Olivier's, where I didn't know that they could see me up there. And if I'd known, I'd have been like, oh, I'm amazing. Yes, so great. I didn't think I could be seen. So I'm not cool. But both of those experiences, I mean, are just the best. Winning the Olivier's were amazing, but performing, getting to do that opening number on the stage at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, I cannot tell you how privileged and grateful I am for those opportunities. And also, I got to meet Gloria Estefan. And when they told me we were going to meet her, I had to sit down. I was beside myself. I'm a big fan. Oh, if you went to a costume party, Mark, what are you doing? A costume party? What would you go as? The last fancy dress party I went to, I went as Tinkerbell. So I don't know, but it was a while ago. I love the Come From Away cast reactions at the Olivier's. Yeah, honestly, I really would have been a lot cooler. And then they made a gif or a meme out of me. I was like, no, let's not celebrate the uncoolness. Oh, what's my worst blooper on Come From Away? It's not a blooper per se. I just made a teeny little mistake with the chairs. And if anyone knows the show very well, you realise that it's not really that teeny. It's actually a big mistake. But it also was made worse by Nathaniel Campbell, so I'm holding him responsible. Okay, so if you have seen the show, there's a moment in it where we go from the plane into another scene, and then from that scene back into the plane, a different plane. It's the plane with the drunk woman singing Celine Dion at the back. That's the plane we're about to go into. And every day I'm in the other scene and I pick up the chairs like this. You see my hands. And I tootle over to the plane and I put them down and I move away. I don't know why I did it. I picked the chairs up with different hands, which means the chairs are now in the wrong hands. And as I went over to put them down, I was like, oh, they're in the wrong place. And I looked at Nate and went, the chairs are in the wrong place. And he went, okay. And then he swapped one of my wrong chairs with his right chair. I don't know. So now 3 chairs are wrong. and I can't do anything about it. I have to go because Mary Doherty is coming to sit down. And I remember getting to the back of the plane and watching Mary Doherty sit down, and literally all I could see was the back of her head, but she was like, something is wrong. And I put my head on Harry's shoulder and was like, the chairs are wrong. The chairs are wrong. I thought it was happening in the spray town. So that's like my biggest blooper in Come From Away. Yeah, that was good. Who's this? Astro Christiane. Which of the male roles in Come From would you like that? Ooh.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is, because usually in musicals that's really easy, but in this the girl parts are better. I think the girl parts are so much better. But if I had to pick a male part, it'd be Bob, because I love the grills. Yeah, I think Bob's got a really good role. If you could have played, different show. If you could have played any other role in Wind in the Willows, who would it be? Toad? Ratty?
Ratty would have been a good role.
Yeah, Ratty. Maybe Ratty. Or Badger. Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting loads of questions now.
Something where I didn't have to dress as a hedgehog. I won't lie to you, because it was it was hot. It was very hot in that costume. Which is your favourite musical instrument in the show? It's actually it's a very specific moment in the show. I looked at all the instruments are amazing, but there is a specific bit with the violin, the fiddle, during Me in the Sky, which I just think is stunning. And I don't know if you guys get to hear it as clearly as I do, but I am sat during Me in the Sky, I'm sat right in front of her, so I get to hear her play it, and it's just, it's beautiful. Was working at Curve a career high? Yes, Mark, it was a career highlight twice. Thank you very much. Twice. Highlight.
You need to come back now.
I do need to come back.
Just saying.
Hashtag just saying Curve, just if you're out there listening.
So obviously as well, as a career in the theatre, you've also done bits in TV. What is it like working in TV in comparison to working on theatre?
The hours are slightly better. I'm a morning person, so I don't mind early starts. And I like to be at home with my husband. He's probably not still watching. With my husband and my dogs in the evening. So the hours are better. I also quite like I don't get nervous when I do TV. Like, I feel that there's a bit of a safety net. I don't know if anybody knows this. I was really lucky. I got to film a few episodes of Coronation Street during the last August. They were on sort of September, October time, I think. And I went in, filmed them. It's absolutely great. No problems, no nerves. I met a friend for lunch on my first day, and he was like, "Are you not nervous?" I was like, "No, it's fine. It's great." Cut to the first showing, and I am pacing literally here to where it is, up and down, like, oh my god, people are going to see it. People with eyes, I can't stop them. So, like, with theatre, you have that sort of like, you keep, if it goes wrong, you just keep going and you make it work. With TV, you have that safety net, but then at the same time, you don't feel you have any sort of control over what is shown. Whereas, because you do, 6 or 7 different takes or whatever, you don't know which one they're going to pick. You don't have the final say. So, there is quite a lot of difference. Also, things like the rehearsal processes are different. If you get a rehearsal process on some of the fast moving shows, you don't. You come in, you have a quick chat about the scene, and then you just go for it. But I love them both. I mean, to be fair, I love whichever I'm not doing, I love the other one more. So if I'm doing theatre, I miss doing TV. If I'm doing TV, I miss doing the theatre. But I think that just keeps me moving forward.
Absolutely. If you had to pick one though that you could only stay in, which one would you pick today? If you had to choose.
I cannot make that choice. Like, whichever I choose, I would spend the rest of my life missing the other one.
Yeah.
But, musical theatre has always been my heart and soul. Always been my heart and soul. Nah, I was working on the Les Mis movie. Life Dreams. Utterly amazing. It's how I always imagined musical theatre to be. Like, that real. That. When I was a kid, like, and I always knew I wanted to be an actor, but I I didn't really know much about theatre. It was all about like movie musicals. So I was like, that's obviously what I'll do. I'll just be in films, musicals in films. So they sort of fell out of favour somewhat. So getting to do that was literally like a tick box moment for me. And the process of it was amazing. I only have like good things. And come on, I got to meet Hugh Jackman. Hello.
Ooh. Did you get his number though?
On the last day, he was like, "See you, Jen." Gave me a kiss. I was like, well, "I'll never wash my face ever again. I will never wash my face again."
Oh my God, I would have been in pieces.
Yeah.
Someone has asked, what is your dream role if you could choose any?
People ask me what my dream role is, and I always say it's probably not been written yet. Because to be fair, like Beulah's like my dream role, and I didn't know about it until 2018. But from parts that are currently available, I think my dream role would probably have to be Fontaine. Like, I'll never play it, but I absolutely love that. I mean, Les Mis is one of my favourite shows. But the bit when she gets arrested, or nearly gets arrested, and she's speaking to, if you know the show, speaking to Jean Valjean. I've just always wanted to sing that. I just think that's the most amazing thing. Yeah, so I'd probably, if I could pick any part ever, that would probably be it, just for one day.
Yeah. Is there any roles that you've played before that you'd like to revisit again?
Ironically, yeah. Madame Thénardier. I covered it when I was 24. I was the second cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to go back and play it in my own right. So yeah, that I'd definitely like to revisit that. Funniest people you've worked with? Oh my God, I work with lots of funny people. I work with lots and lots of funny people. Who makes me laugh more than anybody else? I'm just trying to think. I just work with so many people that are funny. We're very, very privileged. My friend Mark, he doesn't perform anymore, but my friend Mark, he and I've always said we would be a nightmare. I'd be like, I cannot work with you. Stop looking at me. He would just make me laugh. I've never worked with her, which is a shame, but she is an actress, a very good actress called Kate Anthony. And she makes me laugh more than any other human being ever in the history of the world. She is the funniest woman I've ever met. And her stories, she used to be, she played a character called Auntie Pam. She was in Coronation Street for quite a while. And she's been a theatre actress, incredible theatre actress for many, many years. But she makes me laugh more than any other human. Honestly, just telling me true stories about her life has me in stitches. So yeah, she's the funniest person I know.
That's a lovely story. So can you recall any embarrassing moments on stage?
Lester Mark, are you still there? Because this one's for you.
You will be still here.
Yeah. So I'm doing Cinderella at Curve. It's its first proper show, Christmas. And there's a tiny little bit of backstory to this, which I will give. I wanted to get out of the theatre quite quickly that night, and I can't remember why now. I think I had friends in. No, I didn't have friends in. What was it? I was going somewhere. I was definitely meeting friends. I remember wanting to get out quickly. And I wear dance tights in the show because of a costume I wore earlier on. And I thought to myself, do you know what? If I take these tights off, it saves me a bit of time. And then I was like, no, I'll leave them on. Thank God. However, moving on. Cut to the end of the show. It's a very modern version of Cinderella. Right at the end, Cinderella is all powerful and she has a bit of a fight with the Ugly Sisters. By the way, that's who I was playing. I was playing the Ugly Sister opposite my amazing friend Emma Jane. That was a show I laughed on a lot. We laughed a lot. Emma Jane Appleyard, who played Ula. Is it Ula? Uma in Producers? You know who I mean.
Mm.
Yeah, so you know what she looks like. Now you know what I look like. We were playing the Ugly Sisters together. So anyway, in this particular production, Cinderella gets all badass and punches me in the face. Sidebar, she actually hit me twice. For real. She hit me she cut me right in the face. The whole face swelled up. That's a different story. Anyway, so she punches me. I fall to the ground. It's all fine. I get up and she grabs my hair. I did like a top bun hair, and she drags me off downstage. On this particular night, as I stood up, it happened very, very quickly. I remember feeling this funny draft on the back of my legs. And I just kind of gave like this casual look down, and what I then saw was my costume was pajamas, matching top and bottom. The bottoms had fallen down, and I hadn't felt it, probably because of the dance tights. They had fallen, and apparently it was slow. It just fallen down, like a comedy moment. And I was like, what? I was in shock. She grabs my hair, and I had to say, I'm so sorry, Cinderella, you'll have to give me a moment to pull up my dignity. I had to bend over and pull up my trousers. They had pulled onto the floor. I could have literally just stepped out of them. It was horrendous. And apparently there were people, everyone in the wing watched it happen. They were like, her trousers are falling. Her trousers are falling. She's not, I didn't feel it. Believe me, I would have stopped it if I'd have felt it. And I had this is why I know that I wasn't rushing out, because I had friends in, because there was somebody in the audience who I'd gone to college with who reviewed the show. Yes, Lester Mark. Oh my God, he'd reviewed the show, and he said it was the funniest bit in it, but he doesn't think it was meant to happen. I was like, no, it wasn't meant to happen. Mortified. I remember coming off and sort of laughing in that I might be having a panic attack, type where I was like, my trousers fell down, like your worst nightmare. I had to pull them up. So yeah, that is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me on stage.
That's why you need to come back. That's why you need to come back to Leicester and just.
The second show I did in Leicester, this had nothing to do with me, but do you know I did Oliver at Leicester?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know about the dog?
No.
Okay. Fasten your seatbelts. At the end of Oliver, you've got Nancy. Spoiler alert, I'm about to give the end away. Nancy's dead. Sad times. Bill Sykes has stolen the child. Anyway, child's got back. And Bill Sykes has stood in our production. Well, he's on the bridge. And it's all really dramatic. And the audience, I'm in the wings ready to do the curtain call, because my bit's done. And the audience start to laugh. I mean, really laugh. This is not the time for laughter. Bill Sykes is going, hey, your eyes, your eyes. Audience is laughing away. What's going on? We look onto the stage, and the dog is taking a huge poo down stage centre. This is a true story. You know, doing that thing when they do this with their little legs. That's what he was. Huge, massive shit down stage centre. The sound guy was also laughing, so forgot to do the gunshot sound effect and left this poor man literally standing there like, oh my actual God. And then our stage manager had to go on stage and clear it up. That is a true story. And it was not a small dog, by the way, so it was not a small poo.
So that's why you need to come back to Curve. You have all the best times at the Curve.
It literally is true. That is literally a true story. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to expect now when I see Oliver.
Seriously, that was a good show. I enjoyed that.
So what have you learned about yourself and the theatre industry in the past 12 months?
That it means too much to me.
And that
I'm cursed at Curve. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, that this is probably me for life. I hope that it means so much to me. It's part of who I am. That it would seem that there's not a situation where I can be dissuaded for having it as my life and my career. I don't think I'm particularly sad about these things. I think I always knew that. I don't think it's a huge surprise, but I think, you know, one always wonders how it would be if they're tested, whether they'd leave the industry, whether they'd look for other things. And I did I did a tiling course. Yes, I did. And I said to my husband, I was also going to do a mortgage broker course, and he just laughed at me and said, stop doing courses. You're not going to do any of these things. You're an actor. That's what you do. That is what I want to do. He said, stop you're wasting money. Stop it, because you're not going to be a Tyler, and you're not going to be a mortgage broker. You're going to be an actor. And it has just hammered home to me just how much it means. And like I said, I don't think I'm surprised.
No,
or
for sure.
sad. I'm quite accepting of it. I feel privileged that I get to do it when it doesn't mean that much to me, because I know the theatre means so much to so many people, and I am one of the luckiest people in the world that I do get to do it. And I don't ever think that I ever forget that, because I don't.
No.
Question. Okay, one of my regular questions. What advice would you give people at uni? Good.
Going into the career.
It's shit. This is just terrible job in the whole history of the world, except that it's secretly the best. What advice would I give you? I mean, I think it's a bit late for advice, love. If you're doing it at uni, that this is what you want to do. Be kind to yourself. Go to auditions singing songs that you like to sing. It doesn't have to be the highest. It doesn't have to be the beltiest. Make sure you enjoy it. Look after yourself. And I mean, you're physically, but mentally. Surround yourself with good people. And when you get on a job, remember that at some point that job will end. It's a very odd thing, because everyone just goes, whoo. I always say it like mice behind the back of the freezer. You pull it out and they just dash off. So surround yourself with people that will stay.
Absolutely.
And be kind to yourself. Who is my greatest inspiration? My mum is probably my greatest inspiration. My mum and my family.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, nice.
Yes. I knew it was going to have. So, what do you think is important for theatre on the other side of this pandemic? Because obviously, for the last 12 months, we've been quite lucky that streams have still happened. Yeah. So, do you think that's something that the theatre should really reconsider to reach new audiences?
I have always thought that theatre should be recorded. Live theatre should be recorded, and therefore it's accessible to everybody. And I was always told, yeah, but then people won't come and see it. I'm like, that's nonsense, because people buy albums and then go to the concert. Like, there's nothing better than going, oh my God, I get to see this live. I think it would bring more people, into the theatre to see live shows, if they're able to, if they don't know whether they like something, and watch it from their home and go, oh my God, I love that. We know we can go see that live. No way. I think it would absolutely bring more people in than stop them coming to see stuff. I truly believe that. And I to use the whole idea of, recording albums and then doing live concerts. Everyone goes to see Britney Spears when she does her last thing. Do you know what I mean? They have her album or whatever. I only say Britney Spears because I stole a CD off my sister the other day, listening in my car, and it was Britney, and I was thrilled. Have you already performed the first show? No, I haven't. Nah, I haven't. Mine's not until the end of May. So plug. I am taking part in a new musical called Tony, written by Harry Hill and Steve Brown, and we're performing that at the end of May, and I cannot wait.
Can you tell us a little bit about that musical, because I didn't mention it last time?
I can't. It's because I've not read the script yet. So
have you not?
About Tony as in Tony Blair. I'm going to get a text in a minute from Harry going, what are you talking about? It's not about, no. I think that's what it's about. Already booked. Yay!
I love the look of it though, because I think it's one of those platforms that like the theatre definitely needs, isn't it? Like more new musicals coming through, and I definitely think there's room for them. I'm sure you agree that
new musicals, Lifeblood, Come From Away was a new musical. Look how well it's done. You asking me, you also said in your last question, what do I think theatre needs moving forward? It needs you. people to be brave. It needs you to be brave and come back. It needs you to trust that we will do our utmost to keep you safe, to keep everywhere clean, to keep the faith. And if you don't come back, that's when we will struggle. But if you do, if you're brave and trusting, that's how we will keep things going. And also book to see new shows, because you don't know what you're going to love. Amelie is going into the West End. I cannot wait to see it. I didn't see it before. I cannot wait. And Juliet.
Tickets are booked.
And
Tickets are
Juliet,
booked.
I want to go see. I was meant to go see that. I think it was like 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. I was going to go see. I'm friends with CJ, and she'd come from. I was like, I want to see your show so bad, and I was going to go see that. So I'm going to go see that. I was lucky enough. I know it's not new, but it is new. British writing. I saw 6 in that funny week in December and I'd never seen it before. Oh, I had an absolute ball. Loved it. Those girls, though, they were amazing. All of them, and all the band. It was absolutely brilliant. So the most important people in theatre is you. Like, if you don't come, who are we gonna perform to? You are the most important people.
Absolutely. Does that worry you though slightly, like going back? Do you think there will be some kind of hesitant with people and a bit of anxiety around people coming back?
I worry about it in the way that I worry about it raining, on a day that you plan. And it gives me heart to see how well, like, the NHS are doing with the vaccines, for example. I'm having my second one on Sunday. Like, I'll be done. I was one of the vulnerable people, you see, so I got in early. But like, they're already on to people under 45 now. So I think they're doing so well, and I think that will really help people, building people's confidence to go out. I also am boosted by the fact that on my way home, walk from the train station, I passed 2 pubs. They're always packed. People want to go out. That's what when I start to worry about things, I'm like, well, people want to do stuff. Blue Water, I live near Blue Water. It's heaving. So people do want to do stuff. So when I do worry, I do try and look at the facts that are presented to me, and I have to remain hopeful.
I think it's really important too. I mean, I'm going to see Amelie on the 2nd of June. I'm hoping I've got that date right, Mark, because I always get it wrong. But even we were saying, like, there is a bit of anxiety there to go back, but I know once I get in there and I sit down and I hear that music all over again.
That's the thing. I think it is just taking that plunge and just being brave and trusting that we will keep you safe, trusting that we will have done everything that we possibly can have done to keep you safe. And I definitely think it'll be cleaner than the supermarket. So, don't worry so much about it. Who's my favourite Beverly Bass, you say? Oh, it's got to be Rachel. So she's just logged on, so I have to say that. Quickly, she's my favourite. She knows she is.
So to round it off then, why do you think people need to book tickets back to the Come From Away?
Because it's brilliant, and I'm telling you to. Because, look, I think if you ever want to be reminded that people are good, if you ever want to be reminded that we will come together and just be the best that we can possibly be, that show is the one that will remind you. It's been it's been hard work, and I want the people I would want to see, if I was an audience member, I would want to see something which told me that in the worst possible times, the best possible people will absolutely see. Rachel Tucker says book tickets. So
tickets, there you go.
If you don't listen to me, you've got to listen to her. That's why you will come out of that theatre with joy in your heart and probably some soggy tissues from crying. But that's just because it's beautiful. It's not sad. And I'm not 100% why it moves people the way that it does. I've never seen it. I've never seen the show, annoyingly. I was booked to go and see Rachel in New York when COVID happened. We booked it. My husband and I were going over. We booked our flights, booked a hotel, couldn't wait. So I've still not seen it. But it moves people because it's beautiful, because it's kind, and it shows kindness and love and generosity of spirit. And the music's pretty good too, to be fair.
Yeah, the soundtrack is something I listen to repeatedly at the moment. But like you say, I think it's definitely a musical that I think after the shit of the year that we've had is that reminder of the good things in humanity, the good things that can still happen, like you say.
Absolutely agreed. It is.
So,
yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The best of humanity in the worst possible time.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. It's been
pleasure.
really lovely chatting to you.
I need to go get another drink now.
You do. You need to fill it up now. You can't be doing with empty glass.
I have to get something different. You know, it's Friday and all that jazz.
And why not? You've not got to go to work at them. Do you know what I mean? You can just drink as much as you want.
True. I'm filming something tomorrow at 9:30. It's a surprise. You'll see. It's a thing. It'll come out sooner or later. But it's a little charity thing that I'm doing. Not tell them that I was drinking till, to the week.
Okay, we won't. No, we won't.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and asking questions and being part of it. And honestly, all the people that have come from away, supporters over this last year, I cannot explain how much it has meant, because there are times when you feel very forgotten, and you have always made us feel remembered, and for that I will forever be grateful. And also for my Easter egg nap, to be fair, I thank you for that.
Well, hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Fingers crossed. I'll see you at the theatre.
Yes, and get you back into the curve this time, hopefully without any accidents happening.
No, but where's the joy? There's the fun in that. Where's the fun in that?
Bring it on, whatever you've got for me next. Had a dog poo, floss my trousers, come on.
I totally forgot about the dog pooing. That's very funny. Lovely girl, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you so much, Jenna. Take care and have a great weekend.
Just one last thing, because I'm going to just plug it while you're here. On the 4th of July, I'm doing a little concert down in Gravesend in Kent. So if anyone lives down here, please do buy a ticket and pop along. And that's my parting gift.
Thank you so much. Take care, lovely. Have a great weekend. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Oh, isn't she the nicest person in the world? Thank you so much for joining us tonight with Jenna. I'm really hoping this will save this time, because last time I've had so many problems with it. But it's been really lovely to talk to you all, and I am now going to log off and then try and save this Q&A. But thank you so much for joining me and Jenna tonight for Theatre&Tonic. I'm really hoping I can announce next week's guest over the weekend. It's a good one. And hopefully soon we may have some other people joining us. So fingers crossed we'll get some exciting guests coming over in the next couple of weeks. But have a great weekend and a great Friday. And I shall bid you goodbye. Have a great weekend. See you soon. Goodbye.